Bulls Nation, before we get any further into this video, I do have to say it feels really nice to see the Chicago Bulls win again. And I know it hasn't been that long since we won our last game, but just the two previous losses that we've had were extremely frustrating and just so annoying to watch, and was bringing pain and mental toll to all Chicago Bulls fans pretty much. However, this game against the Detroit Pistons was a game where we did not need to worry too much about losing this game, especially within that second half. So we got to see a little bit more positivity out of the Chicago Bulls. But we're going to be talking about those positives and about those negatives all in this game reaction. So without further ado, let's talk about the Chicago Bulls in this video. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show, and welcome back to another video. Today, we've got a Chicago Bulls versus Detroit Pistons game reaction. The Chicago Bulls, from two very poor, frustrating, and angry losses, picked things up against the Detroit Pistons and provided a pretty decent victory for us to talk about today. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on. I must say, I apologize for this video being out pretty late. I also apologize for not uploading daily. Unfortunately, uni is very time consuming these days, so I can only post when I can. And unfortunately, some of these days I've been missing really out of my hands. However, I should talk about the videos coming up forward, and we'll be discussing all the videos I have planned at the end of this video. So let's talk about the Detroit Pistons and the Bulls, why don't we? This game was a 100-86 loss for the Detroit Pistons and a 100-86 victory for the Chicago Bulls. All the way around, I think from the second half onwards, we look like a completely different team. Once again, we have shown that we are very inconsistent. However, this inconsistency proved to be a positive, or at least we played positively towards the second half of that game, which resulted in a very crucial victory for the Chicago Bulls. However, in saying that first half of the Chicago Bulls, it almost represented the last game against the Detroit Pistons that we faced at home. It wasn't to that extent. We weren't 25 points down in this game, but we played a very awful brand of basketball. And that is something that has been an ongoing theme for this team for quite some time. We can give away quarters. We can play poorly in a quarter, then play an elite in another quarter. And once again, this has proven to be the case. There has been a lot more balanced scoring in this game. Some big positives coming out of that retrospect. However, there were a few things that just simply I was very upset with, especially in that first quarter. Second quarter, we picked things up a little bit, especially towards the end. But of course, the second half was really good to watch, and we stood our ground and we showed who is a dominating factor in this game. The Bulls are a better team than the Detroit Pistons. All we had to do was go out there and show it. And in the first half, we didn't do that. But the second half, we did show that. We showed our dominance. We showed our defensive prowess, a defensive team that we can be. Granted, Detroit are not a great offensive team. The Chicago Bulls showed that they are a decent defensive team when they want to be. That's something I want to see progress to another level. I want to see this team progress defensively to a complete new level. And I don't know how long it's going to take to get there, but I would like to see that consistency on a defensive end. We saw some very good defense in the second half. Offensively, look, the turnovers were still high. That's really something I can't get out of the way. 20 turnovers or something like that in this game for the Chicago Bulls. That's not acceptable. I understand the caliber of the team. Once again, with every victory, you need to look at the caliber of the team. We know Detroit are not a terrific team. They're 12-30 right now after this game. They're not having a terrific season, and their expectations is the lottery right now. And that is something that at the end of the day, we had to beat this team because it just shows exactly what kind of team that we are. We need to beat teams that are lower standings of us, but also you need to look at the things that did go wrong and discuss them, because just because we won this game doesn't mean those 20 turnovers are acceptable. It's done now. We move on. We got the win and we take it, but we need to improve our turnovers. We need to improve a lot of things on this team. And turnovers is at the main point of that. It has been all season, and it's something that has not been rectified. Something I thought, especially towards this part of the season, the second half of the season, we would have cleaned up our turnover act by now, but we still lead the league in turnovers. We're still a very bad turnover to pass team, and today was just another example of that. Again, there were positives in this game. I thought the scoring was balanced. I thought everybody contributed in this game to an extent, and I thought the Bulls played very well in that second half, as I've mentioned before. I'll have to give some praise to a lot of players today in the box score for contributing the way that they did. At the end of the day, these are the things that I'm happy to do. I'm happy to talk about players that play well for this team, because at the end of the day, that's all I want. I want this team to play well. And again, hopefully in the next game, we've got a very tough game tomorrow, a back-to-back against the Utah Jazz. I would love to see the Bulls step up to the plate tomorrow and pick up a massive victory over there. Something I don't believe will happen, because Utah is playing so good this season. But dreamers can dream, and let's see if the Bulls can find some way to do it. Again, if we compete, we have a chance. So let's see if we can do that. Let's go into the box score. I'm going to try and keep this a little bit shorter, and we'll just see how things go. Patrick Williams, 10 points, 1 assist, 7 rebounds. From the very get-go, Patrick Williams got an interception from the I guess, toss-up at the middle of the game, and he dunked the ball for 2 points. The first 2 points of the game was a dunk by Patrick Williams. That is something I have not seen enough of with the Chicago Bulls. And again, that's probably something I'm not going to see for quite some time. The way he intercepts that ball off of the tip-off and just runs in for 2. That is really, I guess, off the bounce game from Patrick Williams. And again, I thought he was decent. He was decent on the rebounds. Aggression-wise, he was definitely doing his thing. He took them on. He got a few dunks in this game. He got a coast-to-coast in this game. He played decently. I think he deserves a lot of praise for that. Larry Markkinen, 16 points and 8 rebounds in tonight's game. This is the type of game I want to see Larry Markkinen play. I would like to see him score a little bit more, but regardless of that, the rebounds. What I didn't like was we had a relatively shorter Thaddeus Young, a mobile Thaddeus Young, a player that is obviously a better defender than Larry Markkinen in Thaddeus Young, yet we allowed Larry Markkinen to guard Jeremy Grant. This is just a small thing that really made me upset. I think it might be a coaching thing, to be honest. Why is Larry Markkinen, who's 7'1", not the quickest player, not the most mobile, guarding Jeremy Grant when we have Thaddeus Young, who is more mobile, who is quicker, who is shorter, and he could probably guard Jeremy Grant fairly well, guard Mason Plumlee. That is something I didn't like throughout the course of the game, and thankfully it did get changed, it did get rectified within the second half, but that is something that I couldn't understand for the life of me, and it was a big part of why we were losing towards that game. Larry Markkinen cannot guard someone like Jeremy Grant, who's an all-star level player, consistently every single possession, because he's just not quick enough to do it. Larry Markkinen, I think, defensively needs to be treated as a center. He needs to be treated as guarding a center, because he's not mobile enough to guard these small 6'8" power forwards when he's a 7'1" power forward. It doesn't really work, and I think they took advantage of that greatly in today's game. But offensively, very, very nice game from Larry Markkinen. Again, 16 points is a very good return for a second option player. 8 rebounds. He did crash the boards today, and I think he got, besides Daniel Gafford, which we'll talk about later. Wow. I think he got the most rebounds on this team outside of Thaddeus Young and Daniel Gafford. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't think I am, but we will see with the other players that go by. So a fairly good game, in my opinion, from Larry Markkinen. One that I would be very happy with, and hopefully consistency-wise he can have a better game against the Utah Jazz, because I think he's due for an over 25-point game after these last few games. He's got, 10 and 16. So he's due for a 20-plus game. So let's see if he can get it against a very good Utah Jazz team in this back-to-back. Thaddeus Young, 8 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds. I mean, it's just a Thaddeus Young performance, is it not? He got all of his 8 points, I believe, in the third quarter. So he really took things personally after that first half performance, and he picked things up in the second half and in that third quarter. He played well. The difference is it wasn't consistency with Thaddeus Young, because, again, first quarter wasn't great. Second quarter wasn't great. Third quarter, elite. Fourth quarter wasn't great. So he got a lot of his good performances within that third quarter, and that's usually not what I see from Thaddeus Young. I usually see it in abundance, in consistency, and I didn't see that from him, and it's the same with Satoransky, to be honest. But nevertheless, A great game from Thaddeus Young, as usual. Didn't play as much as the rest of the team. Only got 21 minutes today. But I thought he did his thing while he was on. And that's all I could really ask for from a player of Thaddeus Young's caliber. Zach Levine, 18 points, 1 assist, 3 rebounds. Not the best game from Zach Levine, if I have to say so myself. I think the Detroit Pistons played very good defense on Zach Levine. The one thing that you have to do against Zach Levine is not allow him to get into the paint. Zach Levine beat the Detroit Pistons off of three-point shooting, pretty much. Corner threes, threes from the top. That was basically Zach Levine's game today. Not many times did he go into the paint consistently and score. And that's why his 18 points was only 18 points and not 30 points or not 35 points or even a 25-point performance. It's because they really did very well in stopping Zach Levine from getting into the paint, which is his bread and butter. But outside of that, he did have a good game, Zach Levine, because he had to adjust, and I thought he adjusted fairly well. Again, the opposition of the Detroit Pistons makes it easier for Zach Levine to adjust in a game like this. And of course, when you have Larry Markkinen firing, when you have Patrick Williams getting over 10 points, when you have people like Denzel Valentine getting points, Satoransky getting points, you have Daniel Gafford playing well, he got a little bit of help today, so he didn't need to drop those 30 points. And in the fourth quarter, I don't think he played much at all, if anything. So this is what Zach Levine's game was today, and I thought it was a pretty good one, to be fair. Satoransky, 8 points, 9 assists, 2 rebounds, a near double-double for Satoransky. It's a shame he couldn't get there because I thought he really played well today. Aggression was something that I really thought stood out for Satoransky. He got into the paint. A lot of his shots were off of screens and off of layups. And that's what I like to see from Satoransky. And of course, his 9 assists, he's a playmaker. He is that playmaker. We all talk about the Bulls need a true playmaker. Satoransky is proving to be a true playmaker on this team. Something that I thought he didn't do enough of last year, he's doing this year. So, again, I don't know if he's the future or not of this team. I don't think he will be. But while he's here, appreciate his performances. Because so far, he has played very well this season. I think he deserves some praise for the way that he's played this season. And this is where I'm giving my praise to. Denzel Valentine, 9 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds. Good to see Denzel Valentine get a little bit more minutes today. And I thought he played very well. Once again, as usual, he made very good 3-pointers today. And I thought he did his thing defensively as well. He even got 2 assists as well. Something that for our so-called best passer on the team, as Stacey King likes to say, he doesn't get too many assists, Denzel Valentine. So I want to see that playmaking game kind of thrive out a little bit more. I want to see him become a really good playmaker. One that can thread the needle type of passes to get players open. He is a good passer, Denzel Valentine, but I don't think we see it enough. So that is something that I would like to see progress over time within the season. And he might just stay on the Bulls. He might be given that second opportunity with the Bulls if he's able to develop that passing game like he is with his offensive scoring game, which he's been doing very well this season with. And to sum up the rest, pretty much Kobe White had 7 points. I believe Ryan Archidiakono had 9 points. Wendell Carter had 4 points. And Daniel Gafford had 8 points, I believe, and over 10 rebounds, 11 rebounds or something like that. Now, I'm not going to go through the rest. Otto Porter also had 3 points, by the way. I'm not going to go into detail of the rest except for Daniel Gafford because it feels amazing to see Daniel Gafford have a game like that. Daniel Gafford has had a bad season. He's been a backup center that was struggling to a starting center that was struggling to not even being played. But he got game time in this game, and he took the most of it. He took advantage of that, and that's something I want to see a little bit more. I truly believe out of all the centers that the Chicago Bulls have, from Felicio, from Luke Cornett, Daniel Gafford, maybe outside of Wendell and Thaddeus Young, I really think Daniel Gafford has the most to offer when it comes to being a backup center on this team. I truly believe that, but we don't see it enough, and that's why he doesn't get that game time. That's why Luke Cornett, for a little bit of time, had to play backup center minutes for this team. But I want to see Daniel Gafford be that center for us. I want to see him have games like this consistently, and I'm just happy that he's had a type of game like that. I want to see that confidence come back with Daniel Gafford because I believe he's lost it. And I want to see it come back. And he's a confidence-driven player. He brings his own confidence, his own energy. I think he could be a really good player for this team, but it's up to him. It's really up to him. I think he has all the potential in the world to be a good rim-protecting, offensive-minded, dunking, even a post-game center. I truly believe he has the skills and capabilities to do it, but it's up to him now if he wants to be that type of player or he wants to be a player that barely gets game time. That's up to Daniel Gafford now. But a game like this really brings back hope of what I think he can be. So let's see if he can be that. And that's all I'm going to talk about with the Chicago Bulls. Yeah, Coby White didn't have a great game. Wendell Carter didn't have a great game. Barely even played today. Only 14 minutes for Wendell Carter. That is something that at the end of the day, when Daniel Gafford plays well, I guess Wendell Carter has his money cut out for him. So there you go. And yeah, the must improve. I think I'm going to target Coby White, to be honest, because I thought he played the most out of everybody off of that bench. And he didn't play terrific basketball. I believe in that game, he got, in the first quarter alone, he got 3 or 4 turnovers, which was, it's just, that's not something you want to see as a bench player walking into that game. You're meant to be the one to keep the lead or to extend the lead or to come back from a lead. You're not supposed to be the player to give up the lead or to force turnovers into players that you didn't need to do. You didn't need to force turnovers the way that Coby White did. So I am frustrated with how he played. And this is why he's coming off the bench. To be honest, I think he has all the potential in the world. But games like this, good games and bad games, is exactly why Coby White is coming off the bench and not starting, because there's no consistency. If he was consistently averaging 17 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, he would probably be starting right now, but he doesn't do that consistently, which is why I believe the coach decided to put Satoransky in, because he's more of a consistent player. Coby White might offer more at their best, but Satoransky right now is offering more because of his consistency. So Coby White needs to be that consistent player down the line. Otherwise, we might be seeing a bench player for the rest of his career. I'm not going to go that far. Again, the future's untold. We don't know what Coby White will be in the future, but that is definitely something to look out for. We need to see consistency. He's a very young player. It's only his 2nd season. 3rd season, he might burst out into that player that we want to be, or maybe it will take a little bit more time. Regardless of the fact, this is why at this point of the season, Coby White is on the bench. He's not having terrific games, and sometimes he has really good games. It's just not consistent enough for us to put a starting position in for him. So hopefully he can find that consistency whenever it comes. And the player of the game, I'm actually going to give it to Lauri Markkanen today. I think he truly deserves it from the game that he played. 29 minutes, 16 points, 8 rebounds. I thought in the first half he was far and away our best player. Zach Levine didn't come to play in the first half, let's be honest. Zach Levine came alive in the second half, but he did not come alive in the first half. I believe he only took like 5 or 6 shots in the first half, and he was 1 for 6 or something like that. And at the end of the day, as good as Zach Levine is, he did score the most points today. I really feel like Lauri Markkanen had a more balanced game in terms of finding his way to score. He had a very good first half. He had a decent second half as well. I just thought it was a little bit more balanced, a little bit more natural coming out of Lauri Markkanen than it was coming from Zach Levine. But again, it's okay to give it to someone else outside of Zach Levine every once in a while. Zach Levine's going to get has gotten so many player of the game awards from me, that sometimes it's okay to branch out a little bit. And I am going to give it to Lauri Markkanen because I truly feel like he deserved it from his game and his performance today. Again, it's not a terrific performance. I don't think there was one player that really stood out as, wow, what a player that guy was today. No one really stood out in that retrospect, but from the games that we did see, the 2 players I would give it to, 3 players I probably would give it to, is Lauri Markkanen, Satoransky, or Thaddeus Young. I would give it to one of those 3 players. So maybe Satoransky, to be honest, deserves it, and I think most people would pick Satoransky. I'm going to pick Lauri Markkanen. I just thought it was a little bit more balanced. But honestly, if you give it to Satoransky today, I feel more power to you, and in many ways I could agree with you. But today, I think I will give it to Lauri Markkanen, and that's going to be the end. That's the end of this video. The Bulls' record is 19-22. Overall, we had a pretty average week, going 2-2 this week for the Chicago Bulls. We'll be doing the Chicago Bulls weekly video soon. Yeah, so in the end, it was a very down week, but also when you look at it in the terms of the wins and the losses, it was a pretty average week. Just the losses were so frustrating to watch. The next game's against the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz have been playing at an elite level all season long, so we're going to have to catch them on a very bad day if we're going to find a way to win this game. And again, there is always a chance. If we came close against the Clippers, we came close against the Lakers, we come close against Denver, we come close against Philly at times, we come close against all these good teams, there is a chance that we can beat the Utah Jazz. There's always a chance. It's the NBA at the end of the day. Is it unlikely that we're going to beat the Utah Jazz? Absolutely, it's unlikely. I wouldn't put money on us beating the Utah Jazz. But if we are able to compete with the Utah Jazz, and I mean compete well, there is a chance we could beat them. So the Chicago Bulls, at the end of the day, if we don't see a fourth quarter lead blown, if we don't see another comeback from another team that shouldn't be coming back the way that they do, we have a chance to win this game. So just please, all I could say is please focus on keeping a lead. If we have a lead against the Utah Jazz, please just focus on keeping it. And I think we have a very good chance. But again, it's the Utah Jazz. More likely we're going to be watching and talking about another loss tomorrow, but let's hope it's not the case. The next videos that will come out will be the Chicago Bulls Weekly, and we'll be talking about the Utah Jazz game, obviously, as we just mentioned. Also, something I haven't actually really mentioned on this channel, I have got 500 subscribers. From about 4 days ago, I got 500 subscribers. So that's a big milestone for me. And I kind of want to talk about a video thanking you guys and also kind of discussing how things are at the moment with me personally. Again, it's a personal type video. Many people won't watch that, and at the end of the day, that's fine. It is something that I do want to do every now and then to implement, so you guys get to know me a little bit more outside of just the guy that uploads Chicago Bulls videos that's from Australia. I want to see maybe a little bit more from me. But again, all that will come in time. It may take a long time to do. It may be done within the next few days. At the end of the day, uni schedules are hard to come by, and it is proving very difficult for me at the moment. So we shall wait and see when that comes around. But rest assured, the Bulls Weekly will come out, and the Utah Jazz game reaction will come out. So with that being said, back to the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Have a wonderful and safe day. Enjoy the win. I know it's not the best caliber of team, but a win is a win at the end of the day, and we don't see enough of it for us to be complaining about it. So let's just see what the Chicago Bulls can do in the next game against Utah. Take care and peace.